Thank you so much for checking out Tea and a Butty on YouTube. For exclusive content, please consider becoming a patron. Details are in the link of this video's description, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hello, and welcome to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
Today's episode, it's all about British speech inflection versus British pronunciation.
Yes.
And, well, American pronunciation and inflection too.
Yeah.
And
particularly
the difference between it.
Yeah. Particularly Americans who have married a British person, for example.
Or Americans who've been living in the UK
Yeah.
for a long time and living in Britain.
Yeah. Yeah. You see it a lot with celebrities who have married a British person and live in the UK, namely Madonna,
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been some others. I can't remember specifically who, but a lot of people, they get made fun of for speaking with a British accent.
Yeah.
And so this podcast, we're going to
we're going to kind of talk about whether it's the accent or whether it's
something else.
Well, with Madonna, I seem to remember it was the accent.
She was actually pronounced.
She was actually, and she used to wear like a flat cap and tweed and stuff. They were the newspapers took the piss.
She thought she was in Britain in the 1930s.
She did. Yeah, they had like photos of her walking around the estate, with it on. And I think she even had like a shotgun or something across her arm. And I'm just like, what, is she like a farmer?
That's very classic, though. It's
classic,
isn't it?
And she used to and like the khaki like tweed trousers.
Yeah, like she's going fox hunting.
Yes, and she was speaking to reporters like, "Hello, yes." No, she was like she was a BBC. No, people remember this. There's got to be like footage of it somewhere of her going, "Yes, oh yes."
No, Linda McCartney got it all the time too.
Linda McCartney, yeah.
And it's a little bit questionable now. Now that I've been married to you for, almost 10 years, and we've been back and forth to the UK, and, I've gotten it a bit. And so now I have sort of a newfound sympathy for...
You found respect for Madge.
For these celebrities who have been accused of talking with a phony British accent or something, because... we had a podcast listener a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
When we used to do our old Beatles podcasts before we
the
had
old
this...
Beatles podcasts.
Before we had this podcast.
Back in the days when we did those.
We had a listener say, "Oh yeah, Erica's sounding more and more British all the time." More and more British
all day, mate.
And I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing...
you told me you don't hear it.
I don't hear it, but also it's happening to me on the other hand, like going the other way.
Yeah.
Because my sister goes, "Oh yeah, you've got an American twang now, Dom,"
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I? Do I have an American twang, people?
I know, and do I have a British accent? Yeah. Let us know.
But it's not accent, really, is it?
No.
It's intonation.
Yeah. We have one vlogger that we watch on YouTube who is from Chicago, I think.
Chicago.
And she's listening. Oh, she's listening.
She's not listening.
She's not listening, probably, no. She lives in London, and she's lived there for a little over a year, about a year and a half.
About a year and a half, yeah.
Something like that. And she's done episodes of her vlog where her viewers are like, "Oh, your accent, oh, you said this or you said that," or whatever. And I'm just thinking, she doesn't have a British accent.
No, she totally doesn't.
Because she said the same thing. When she went back home to Chicago, like over Christmas or whatever, everybody was like, "Oh, you have a British accent. You're getting a British accent."
Yeah.
And I'm here watching her YouTube videos, like, no, she really does not have a British accent. She doesn't, you know.
But then you started to notice her inflection and intonation and stuff, yeah.
And it's the intonation that is the key.
It's the key. It's the key to all of it.
And it's what it is. And, you know, I've grown up singing my whole life, so I wonder if that's not why I pick up on the intonation, the way British people speak.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not out there going, oh, shall we go to the dance, darling? You know, I'm not out there talking, like, ordering tomatoes when I go to a restaurant, you know. That is an accent.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing off.
I mean, I'm not pronouncing words in the British way. You know what I mean?
No, you're not.
Like, if I did that, then yeah, I'm affecting a British accent that I do not actually have. But that's not what I do. What I have caught myself doing is using, like, Dominic's inflection in certain sentences. And, you know, we just spent so long we did looking this up.
It was very tiring. We looked up so much stuff and we were like, yeah, they're not, it's just all about, like, accents, like British accents versus American accents.
Yeah.
British pronunciation of words like tomato, and they were just not, we were just putting in different things and they were still coming up with the same sort of videos until we kind of found one.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it's kind of talking, she's talking about what we're talking about.
I know I've seen a video somewhere.
Yeah, maybe it was taken down because no one understood what they were talking about.
So if you don't understand or know what we're meaning when we say intonation or inflection of words versus the pronunciation of the actually, it's not the inflection of words, it's the inflection of specific syllables or specific words within a whole sentence. It's the stress.
It's stressing on, like, a word in a sentence or a question or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's what intonation basically is, you know. It's just kind of like the way your cadence and melody variates. You know, it's just speech modulation, really.
Mm.
I mean, I guess mine's kind of transatlantic, I don't know.
Transatlantic.
That's what they call it, you know, that's what they said Cary Grant had, is a transatlantic accent.
Yeah.
You know? So he didn't sound British, and he didn't sound American, he just sounded somewhere in between.
I mean, I don't think that you sound American whatsoever. I just think
people
that
have said no, I don't have a thick enough accent to sound like that. You know, I don't have all right, mate, you're a Cockney. You know, all right, mate. Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Or like super posh
or super posh or anything like that.
It's just very like muted.
It's very muted. It's very, you know, and it's just very mixed. Mm-hmm. It's a mixed accent. It's a mixture of all the British Isles.
But even with your like mild British accent, you do still have the British inflection.
Oh, yeah.
That does not exist.
Can't get rid of it, mate.
So, like, some examples of that they're mostly found in questions. Mostly when you're going to ask a question. Because that's the difference between
accent and intonation is, like, you know, the intonation is like the melody and the cadence. I keep saying these words and it's like very musical melody and, you know.
The accent is specific to the word, like I already said, like dance as opposed to dance, or tomato as opposed to tomato. Yeah, I'm only using A words. What are some other British? Dance. What are some other British pronunciations? Oh, we were talking about the word in America. We would say duty, D-U-T-Y. Do your duty, whereas in Britain,
duty.
Yeah,
duty.
Do your duty.
Duty. Yeah.
Apparently
Tuesday,
as opposed to Tuesday. Yeah. Apparently some British people even say YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you say YouTube.
I do. I say YouTube all the time.
I think you say YouTube.
YouTube. I think I kind of vary it, maybe. I don't know. I'm not keeping track.
But anyway, the intonation varies between British and American English.
Yeah.
Particularly in questions.
Particularly in like a question setting. And
I think, you know, we're saying British English. I think it might be specifically English that we're talking about. Because I don't know if the same is true with Welsh accents or Scottish accents or Northern Irish accents?
No, I don't think it is.
I mean,
it's a little bit of
yeah,
it's a bit of a difference.
So like a question, for example,
it's like, can I ask you a question?
Whereas I would say, this is so difficult for us to do, you guys, because we hear each other and we hear each other all the time. So I'm like, I'm questioning myself. Question? Okay, so you say it again.
Can I ask you a question?
And I would say, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, it goes up.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
But again, you don't have the strong... Can I ask you a question? The strong British inflection.
Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, or it would even be like...
Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question? Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Is that the Valley Girl version of British
No, that's
English,
a kid.
Though?
That's a
kid.
Can I
ask you a question?
If you listen to, like, Peppa Pig...
yeah.
It's all that kind of thing. It's a kid speaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like... Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask
Daddy,
you a question?
Mummy. It's very, can I ask you a question, Mummy?
So then is that like, so if you hear an adult say it like that, is that like the Paris Hilton version of British
Can I ask
English?
you a question?
Oh, no, because there it is.
Yeah.
It's just got a bit of a deeper note
to it. Note to it, It's not like, can I ask you a question?
Okay. God, if you had only seen his face just then.
My face was nothing.
That was really creepy.
You were the creepy one in this.
But, okay, so you heard that. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question?
But take away the British pronunciation of can and ask.
Can I?
And me saying it with my American accent, but with the British intonation. Can I ask you a question? I didn't pronounce anything the British way. I said, can I ask you a question? But because
I don't know, can you?
But because it went up at the end.
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm talking with a British accent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like an up talk sort of thing.
Up talk, schmuck talk.
Girl.
No.
She's been living in her up talk world.
Oh my god. I don't know about all that. But, yeah. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So let's go to another example.
Would you like a cup of tea?
And I wouldn't say, would you like? First of all, I would say, do you want a cup of tea?
Do you want a cup of tea?
Oh, but you just did the British there. You weren't copying me.
Yeah, do you want a cup of tea?
Do you want a cup of tea? Would you
want
like a cup of tea?
Do you want a cup of tea?
It's so subtle. I don't know.
Subtle, yeah.
I'm wondering if it's coming across in the podcast. I mean, you have to really be listening for it to...
We're just talking here. We're just talking. Talking.
So say it again.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Okay. And then do the other British way.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea? Like that. Okay,
yeah, so... but you don't... You still keep it on the rise at the end there.
No, that was...
Would you like a cup of tea?
Oh. Would you like a cup of tea?
Would you like a cup of tea? This
is very specific.
Yes, we're going down on the tea.
Yes, because I would say, do you want a cup of tea? But if I was doing British inflection, do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Do you want a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Do you want a cup of tea? And it just kind of goes up. I don't know. It's really weird. But again, I haven't pronounced anything a British sort of way. There's actually no words in that sentence that you guys pronounce differently than us, actually.
No. Would you like it? Would you like a cup of tea? Yeah.
Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea?
Do you want a cup of tea?
Do you want a cup of tea?
Answer me. Do you want a cup of tea?
Yes!
No!
Oh my god. Okay, the next example.
Can I have another cider, please, mate? This is a personal one to us.
This is an inside joke.
It's an inside joke from the last time we were in Britain.
Can I have another pint? Can I have another pint? I added.
Yeah.
Can I have another cider, please, mate? Can I have another cider, please, mate?
This guy
Can I
in
have
this
another cider,
this guy
please, mate?
this guy who we
Shall remain nameless.
We met. He was very drunk and he kept asking us.
Can I have another? Yeah.
Can I have another cider, please, mate? Can I have
Okay.
another cider, please, mate?
But
Because we had cider in our house.
But
so,
but in American English, I would just say, "Can I have another cider, please, mate?" Well, how would I say
you just said it. You just said mate. Ha.
I know, but I'm saying if I was saying all of those words
Can I have
in an
another
American
cider,
accent.
please, mate? Yeah, because that is kind of like a very British sentence. No one in Britain, no one in America would say, "Can I have another Can I have another cider, please,
Mate?
mate?" You know, it's like no one even really drinks cider over here.
No one says mate.
Unless unless you're part of a very privileged few Americans.
This is like
who
so
drink cider.
totally side
Can
note.
I have us?
But how come everyone in America thinks that mate is only associated with Australians?
Well, and it's like, and Canadians only say a.
Yeah.
And it's like, those are two very British things.
Yeah.
Eh? You alright, mate? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right, eh? Yeah.
But I will say that in referencing Canada, they put EY, I think, whereas in Britain you would use EH. Yeah, so maybe that's a bit different. I don't know. So, okay.
Sorry, British people are always saying sorry, but apparently that's Canadians over here.
Yeah.
And Australians are the only ones who say mate, and it's just like, what?
Yeah. Mate and...
You what, mate? You what, mate?
And crikey.
Crikey, crikey, Moses.
That comes from Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, though.
Crikey.
The crikey, yeah.
Yeah, blimey. Blimey's another British one.
Yeah, I don't know.
My gran used to make fun of her mate who was from... Because my gran lived in Wales, and she was from Scotland, but she lived in Wales, and she had this mate called Phyllis, who are both sadly gone now, but she was from somewhere in England, I can't remember where, but she used to be like, blimey, you know, and they don't really say that in Wales, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like, and she kept saying, oh, blimey, you know? and my gran used to make fun of her all the time. She's always saying, blimey this, you know, blimey.
But I don't think we associate blimey with Australians, but we definitely do crikey and
Crikey, mate.
Yeah. Crikey, mate.
Crikey, mate. You know, yeah.
Okay, so let me try that sentence. Just American.
Okay.
Yeah, even though it is a weird sentence and no American would ever say it.
No.
Let me think. I'm gonna think soda instead of cider. And dad instead of mate.
You don't have to say mate. You just
I have
have
to
another
say
cider,
mate.
please.
No, I have
That's
to
all
say,
you can say.
I have to say mate.
Mate.
Yeah. Okay. Ready. Can I have another cider, please, mate? Mate, can I have another cider?
Oh my god. Think you've had enough cider, mate.
Mate. Can I have another cider? Can I have another cider? Okay, so that's an American way. But say it with the British.
No, if it was an American, can I get another cider?
Yeah. Can I get another cider, please?
Can I get another cider, please, mate?
Can I get another cider, please, mate?
Can I get another cider, mate?
What? You sounded a bit Irish there.
No, I was
another
totally channeling
cider?
American there.
Can I get another cider?
Cider!
Okay, the last example is basically... I mean, these are all questions again, so...
Yeah. These are all, like, questions, you know.
You know, we were trying to... Before we get to the last one, we were trying to think of some things that I say that I feel like, oh, you know, I've said that like a British person. I cannot think of anything. If you guys, when you listen to these podcasts...
Tell us how we sound.
If you think, oh yeah, Erica sounded particularly British there, you know, let me know.
Yeah, we're detailing you all now to make notes. Listen to every podcast that we've ever put out and make notes exactly where Erica sounds British and where I sound American.
Because I do say something and I go, oh God, I just said that.
Well, your family say it too sometimes. They go, oh, what? You think you're British now, do you?
Oh, yeah, my family says, you think you're British now, do you?
Mate.
You think you're British,
well, they
mate?
do. Yeah, they do. They put on the accent and they just make fun. They go, oh, what? You think you're blimey? You think you're British now, do you, mate?
No, I do that. I mean, I don't say mate. I don't say... I mean, though I have adopted some words from the British English vocabulary.
Yeah, you say bollocks a lot.
Yeah, that should be a separate podcast. I don't say bollocks a lot.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you say bollocks all the time, aren't you?
Bollocks and bugger off and...
No, that'll be a separate podcast. I'll talk about the words, the British words that I notice I use, you know. But I'm not saying them them in a British accent as I say them with the British, you know, I'm not doing a full on Madonna.
No, you don't go into HEB in your tweed flat cap and look at the price of an avocado and go, that's bollocks, mate.
That's bloody bollocks.
Bollocks, mate.
What are you on about, HEB?
What are you on about, HEB? You're having a laugh, ain't ya?
You're having a laugh.
You're having a laugh, mate.
Oh my God. Okay. I really feel like I did not finish that idea all the way through, whatever it was I started to say a minute ago. But it was bollocks, yeah. Okay, so let's do the last example.
Excuse me, may I use your restroom?
Okay. And then the...
Okay. Good, because I've been gasping to go.
No, do the...
Excuse me, may I use your restroom?
Okay. That's how you would say it?
Excuse me, I don't use the word restroom.
Oh, right. Well, you say it then.
I don't say excuse me either. I say, can I use your toilet, mate?
You do not. If you're in, let's say, a really fancy store and you need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, excuse me. May I use your facilities, please, sir? My lord?
Anyway, I would say...
No, excuse me, may I use your restroom?
May I use your restroom?
May I use your restroom?
Excuse me, may I use your restroom?
May I use your restroom?
Excuse me, may I use your restroom? Yeah.
Excuse me, may I use your restroom?
But now do the Peppa Pig.
Excuse me, may I use your restroom?
May I use your restroom, please?
Please.
May I use your restroom, please, Daddy?
Daddy.
Mummy.
Mummy.
Mummy, may I use the restroom, please?
Bloody, okay, we're getting silly on this bloody topic now. Bloody bollocks it is.
I know. Going back, I want to go back to Linda McCartney really quickly.
Linda McCartney, yeah, making a comeback.
Because I remember just talking about celebrities and using their accents. I can't think if I've ever heard Madonna actually say, oh yes, we grow our own tomatoes on this estate.
Something. I remember that the papers picked up and they were all like, oh, she thinks she's British now, Madge.
But I can vividly picture the scene in my head of the Paul McCartney special from the 1970s.
She was in a pub.
I think.
Yeah, she was in a pub in Liverpool.
And his family was there, his aunts and uncles,
his Auntie
and cousins.
Gin.
Yeah.
His Auntie Ginny.
It was all his family in this pub. Their family.
His dad.
Yeah.
They just all got together because he was back,
Yeah, it was around the holidays, I think.
And he was introducing everyone to Denny Lane and the members of his band Wings.
And it was just kind of in the background type thing, wasn't it? And what did she say?
Sit yourself down, Ginny.
Sit yourself down,
Ginny, love. Sit yourself down, Ginny, love. Sit yourself down.
But I'm trying to think. Does she actually
And it's they probably.
Does she actually pronounce the words in the British way, with a Liverpudlian accent, or is it just the intonation?
Or was it just because she was married to Paul and she thought, yeah, gear fab,
No. I'm just
got the mullet on, I.
I'm just thinking, I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and say maybe it was just the intonation, because that part is really cringy if you guys have ever seen that documentary.
Yeah, and
sit yourself down, Ginny love.
Sit yourself down, Ginny.
She says love, though, too.
Does she? Oh, did I just add that? I can't remember.
She says
listen
love.
to it back
Sit
now.
yourself down, Ginny love. Yeah, she says it.
Yeah,
and she sounds just
his
like...
Auntie Ginny is just, all right, Paul, she comes up, she didn't sound like that.
She doesn't sound like that.
All right, Paul. All right, Paul, how are you, Paul? She sounds like, she sounded like she was from Liverpool. I can't do her accent now, but she comes in, she's like, she's talking to Paul. Paul's like, yeah, and and I thought it was him. Maybe he said, sit yourself down, Ginny, love, like, because he's like all like, being filmed here.
Yeah, because...
I'm in Wings
Linda
now, not
says
the Beatles,
the way Linda says it sounds exactly like Paul, like she's mimicking Paul, really.
She's like, sit yourself down, Ginny, love.
Sit yourself down, Ginny, love.
And that's, they probably, the press probably took the piss out of her for...
But the thing is it's not fair, really, because I'm not doing this on purpose. If there's anything British about my accent whatsoever, it's just because Dominic is the person that I talk to more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hear him, we're watching a lot of British programs, we're listening to the BBC on the radio. It's like I cannot escape it. It's almost as if I'm living in Britain. So,
don't worry, when we move back to Britain, we'll be watching all the American shows and listening to American radio and everything.
So, it's just something I have picked up.
Balance it all out.
I'm not doing it in any sort of like, because I think I'm cool or because I suddenly think I'm British, I have no reason to want to be British. It just literally is something. I think if you have an ear for sounds, you just kind of pick it up if that's what you're hearing.
You just angered all the gammon with that phrase. I just don't want to particularly be British.
The gammon?
Yeah, the gammon. Yeah, people will know. British people will know what I mean by the gammon.
Anyway, I just wanted to vent.
The end.
The end. I really feel like this podcast has been
trial and error.
A podcast of complete insanity. So
a concoction of crap.
If you have stuck with us all the way here to the end, then we appreciate your support.
Thank you so much.
More than you could ever know. If you would like to further support us, we appreciate each and every time you guys share our podcast with your friends and your family. If you're part of any Reddit forums, or if you answer questions on Quora or any other type of expat forums or anything like that, please tell them about our podcast.
Tell them, share us. Yeah, sharing really helps us. So
help us drive traffic to our podcast.
Yeah, get more people listening to get on to us about stuff.
If you guys want to go back and listen to our old podcasts, like if you've just sort of started listening to our
Start from the beginning.
Well, you can start from the beginning in any of the podcast apps, or you can start from the beginning on YouTube, because we are slowly but surely getting our podcasts up
it's
over
a process.
There. Yeah, so they're coming out, I think, like 3 times a week over on YouTube, and they're just like our old podcasts. So, if you're listening to this in June or July and you notice that suddenly there's a Christmas episode uploaded on YouTube, that's why.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah, but you can find all our old podcasts in Anchor if you're listening to us on Anchor, or they're on Apple Podcasts. Just like scroll through them.
Yeah. They should all be in order.
Yeah.
I number them and everything, so, they should get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is episode 158 now or something.
Is it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
158 episodes. And that's not including our exclusive patron only podcasts.
Yeah.
Or episodes that we do for patron members.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They get all the benefits of the mate.
You get extra podcasts. You get extra nonsense over on Patreon if you choose to support us that way too. Yeah, you definitely get extra content on there. We also have a shop on our website. There's all countless ways for you to support this podcast, and any way you so choose, we greatly appreciate.
So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. I think we're done here.
Yeah.
We've done as much damage as we can do in this podcast. So thank you as always for listening. We appreciate you so much, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.